Okay, now we go to the second game played by Maroczy in this tournament in Bled 1931. I was inspired to show you these games by this book that I received today, which is the story of a Jamaican team at the Chess Olympiad in 2002, also played in Bled. I don't know, Bled now I think it's in Slovenia. I don't know in 1931 if it was Yugoslavia or what it was, because the maps change depending, on who are the conqueror or what. It's history, it's kind of bloody, right? So, game 168, played in Bled September 5th, 1931, is played between Spielman Maroczy with Spielman with white against Maroczy, that is black. Okay, Spielman starts with d4. Spielman is a famous, very combinative player, attacking player, tactical player, that they said he never mastered positional game. That's why he didn't have good results in chess. Obviously, we are still speaking of top players, okay, of that period. c4, e6, knight f3, knight f6, bishop g5, knight b, d7, e3, bishop e7, knight c3, castle, queen c2 and c5. Maroczy goes for the Tarrasch setup too, as many of the elite players did at the time. Soon an original position will emerge. C takes d5, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight takes d5, bishop takes e7, and knight take e7. Better than the queen recapture as Capablanca played against Alekhine in the World Championship match in 1927. So in that match it was played this move that it seems is not so good. Obviously, in order to understand this comment, we should have watched all the games of the match of 1927, right? This was played in 1931, so 4 years later. Clearly Maroczy had time to elaborate the theory of this opening, and maybe he got it from other games played in tournaments. Bishop e2, knight f6, castle, bishop d7, and knight f3. Sorry, not knight f3, bishop f3. White correctly focuses his attack on b7, since the black king side is totally safe. e5, knight b3. The knight has no better place to retreat, but it now threatens to occupy the c5 square, okay? Queen b6, rook fd1, rook fd8. A conventional move, better was rook c8. Now, this is in fact, I think, a very interesting comment, but why it was better rook c8? Because you see that you are a beginner or not, you ask yourself which of the two rooks should occupy the open file and where. To me, rook fd8 means that he wanted to move this or he didn't want to have the defender of a bishop d7 overloaded, and so what did he do? He defends the bishop d7, right? While the author of the book says, rook a c8 is better because it will create mass exchanges. But maybe he didn't want to have an exchange here. And so, I don't know. By the way, here it says that black opt for an inferior pawn structure, but the pawn structure seems kind of symmetric. So, let's see what happens after rook f d8. Knight e4, rook a c8, like I said. As you can see, rook f d8 was prophylaxis, right? And then now he occupies the open file. Knight takes f6, g takes f6. So the comment made two moves before is clearly made with hindsight, because he knew that this exchange would happen. Now, it seems that it's not a good idea to exchange to take with the queen, okay? Because white would play knight c5. And let's see what happens after bishop here. Rook takes d8, rook takes d8, rook d1, rook c8. Obviously we must be very careful to take this, because rook takes d8 is checkmate, okay? So rook c8, queen a4, b6. Obviously, again, you cannot take because there is a checkmate. So this is the reason. I'm not going to say it every time, but that's the reason, okay? Knight e4, bishop takes e4, bishop takes e4, a5, queen d7, g6, and g3. And black would hardly able to avoid, so would be hardly able to avoid losing material, or would hardly be able to avoid losing material. Interesting, but I don't know, it's interesting. Again, this is the problem with chess, right? That you see a position like this, and if you use an engine, the engine will tell you who is winning, and maybe that's the author what he did, so his evaluation is based on that. But from these are move 25, we started the variation at move 17. Can you actually say that black is worse, and which is the material that is losing? I don't know. This is, in my opinion, with chess books is the problem that they are missing an editor, someone that actually read the book before it's published and tell the author, sorry, but what does it mean? Where is this loss of material that I cannot see? At the moment the material is equal on both sides. Yes, the problem is black has a knight and the bishop is generally better, but okay, do you actually see after 8 moves that black is losing and white is winning? I don't see it. I don't see it. And I'm not scared to tell you, because I might totally wrong, but hey, show us a couple of more moves then, once. And second is, I'm sorry, but who calculates these 8 moves that didn't even seem very force over the board, right? Okay, sorry for this long rant, but I think sometimes people just get the line invented by the engine and put a pros evaluation, but I don't know. So I don't really see. Yes, maybe black is not able to lose this too. Okay, but let's see. But I don't see it after it moves, right? And the pawn structure is better here, right, than the one in the game. Also, if of course Maroczy will be able to win. Okay, let's return back to the position in the game. So this was the position where white took the knight on f6. We saw a variation based on queen takes f6, where the final evaluation after more than 8 moves was that black couldn't avoid to lose material, but honestly I didn't see where he would lose material. In the game, Maroczy plays g takes f6, queen e4, obviously attacking twice, bishop c6, queen g4, and king h8. After which there is bishop takes e6, rook takes e6, and here there is no time to control the d-file, as Spielman, known for being a ferocious attacker, goes for the king. Rook d7. That's interesting. Rook takes d7, queen takes d7, and rook c7. Rook, queen d8, king g7, and rook d1. Not just defending against the loss of a queen, white also wishes to launch a decisive attack against the black king. Let's see how he attacks the black king. Knight c8. Black knight has goals in contrast to his b3 counterpart, so this is passive. h4. This is an interesting move because now white doesn't have a back rank checkmate threat, so it's kind of important. Rook c2 and queen d7. White could avoid the ensuing difficulties with a queen exchange, although black would be better even in the knight ending. Spielman characteristically aims for mate and does not want to hear about piece trades. Our columnist took that into account in considering his move. Queen b4. Queen f5, rook c7, and e4, cutting off a black queen from the king side, right? Spielman does not notice that his opponent willingly enters into his combination, but calculates one move farther. And this is the real problem, right? That you see, they can teach you about positional ideas, they can teach you about combinations with the tactic training, but in reality what matters in a chess game is how far you calculate, because if your opponent is able to calculate one move more, he will win. He or she or they or whatever they are, right? Because now we have also aliens coming from Roswell, so who knows how they like to be called. Okay, after e4 we have knight d6, queen g4, it's a dubious move, a needless check that derails white. It seems it was better to play queen f3. I honestly don't really want to see that, because in the end he writes that after queen f3 he shows practically other 5 moves and says white is not better. Okay, so queen f3 doesn't work either, right? King f8 and queen g3, forcing the capture of the e4 pawn as queen d3 is threatened. So he's threatening this. Probably it's that, or queen d8 taking the rook. So let's see what happens, okay? Knight takes e4, and here Spielman played rook d8. Interesting. Rook d8. Check. King e7. Queen g8. And king e6. Rook d1 and f5. Here it says the h7 pawn is not important, black already controls the game. So this is maybe the problem Spielman have in not understanding positional chess. This piece value is 9. Yes, you took a pawn, but maybe your queen now is out of the game, so maybe not such a good idea, right? Compare to this queen that is very active and attacking the king, the enemy king, right? And in fact, black plays queen b6, queen h6, f6, and now white plays a big blunder. Here we have a picture of Rudolf Spielman. You can see him. Under there is a picture of Nimzowitsch, okay? So let's see what happened here after white played queen h8. So it seems that there was a possibility to play rook f1 and have a draw, but I guess Spielman was playing for a win, and when you play for a win you can also lose. So queen takes f2, king h1, and boom, queen g3. This is the move that probably Spielman missed. What is going to do now? Rook d8, rook g7, queen e8, rook e7, queen h8, and now there is f4, and white played queen h5. That was a good move. It says here perhaps black will blunder and permit knight d4. Maybe because obviously if there is a blunder, a big blunder, there could be a checkmate, okay? But how do you blunder like that? That's the part. Followed by mate. Since the queen exchange means an easy victory for black, Maroczy probably in time trouble plays to bring this about. Plays queen e1, king h2, and now you need to pause the video. Please pause the video and try to find the next move by black. Okay, what is the next move that black plays. So I hope that you pause the video, because this is particularly interesting. It's a typical tactic, and I think one that could be comfortable and usable for you. Queen h1, boom! Takes, obviously, there is no other way. Bang! And this is done. Right now there is a problem, in fact, because black has a pass pawn that is just 4 squares from promotion, so I think black has won the game at this point. Let's see what happens. Rook h8, knight g3, knight c5, check, king f5, rook b8, rook c7, knight d3, e4, and white resign since his piece is lost. As soon as the white knight moved, it found itself in a snare. Okay, so that's the problem here, that this knight is gone, it seems. Let's see how it's gone. So maybe if he plays this is a possibility. I think the real problem is that this pawn is unstoppable, so I don't think it's the piece the problem. The problem is the fact that the pawn is unstoppable. So I don't know. Well, it was definitely a nice game by Maroczy. Obviously, also in this case, the author of the book maybe should have put here a line to show how you win, right? That's the good part. Next game is Maroczy against Nimzowicz. It was played on September 16, while this on September 5. So as you can see, this tournament was pretty long, because it was 14 rounds, double game for each. So clearly, here you can see they all play one game probably with white and one with black. So it's kind of a hard tournament that lasts at least a month, right? If they play one game a day. If they play 2 games a day, it will still be 15 days or more. And maybe they need to have at least 1 day every 5 rounds as a rest, maybe, right? Okay, so next game will be against Nimzowicz.